How you doing? My name is Frederick France. 4-year stroke survivor and TBI. TBI standing for traumatic brain injury. I'm a personal trainer. And before this incident, I was aspiring to be a bodybuilder. But I never thought that everything I learned about bodybuilding and the building of the body and the way that the mind connects to the muscle, I would have to use to rebuild my body. So it all came very handy, you know. As tough as this been, the main thing that I was left with, even though I lost a lot of movement on the left side of my body, like right now I still have problems from the elbow down, you know. I mean, I don't have the greatest movement, but I can move, you know. I still have problems from the elbow down and the knee down, you know. A lot of stuff that I learned from bodybuilding has brought me a long way, very long way. Back to what I was saying, I'm jumping all around the board. The main thing that even though I lost movement in my body, I lost no movement in my mind. But that being said, I don't care who you see somebody in the wheelchair, somebody with no legs, no arms, anything. Give that person the proper respect because they still have their mind frame, you know. As long as a person has their mind, that person is still a person. Not to say somebody that don't have their mind is not a person, but a person that don't have the use of their mind has lost a major part of their life. Well, that's my belief. You know, if you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. It's not meant to offend anybody, but it's real stuff. You know, the person don't have their mind. You know, they somewhere totally different. Because when a person don't have their mind, it's hard. How can you you can hardly conversate with them.
How did your brain not suffer any permanent damages?
Well, I have, see, that's the whole thing. See, because I'm glad that you said that because like, if a person sitting here talking to me, they don't believe I have brain damage because, you know, my speech is, I would say, still very good, you know. I ain't gonna say it's as good as it was before this happened. You know, my long-term memory is great. I can tell you something from 20 years ago, probably play for play, but something from 20 minutes ago might have me off a little bit because my short-term memory is not that great. And my brain damage, see, what I just explained to everybody about me having, like, still having mobility problems, that's brain damage. That's not physical. That goes back to about the analogy I was making about the socket and the light bulb or whatever, you know. So me not being able to use my hand is brain damage. So like if a person see me because like the workout and exercises that I'm still able to do, you know, the first thing they usually ask me was did I have a sports injury, and I'm like, no, you know, I got shot. Basically I got like shot like right here, which is not too far from my temple. And upon the bullet accident traveled through my throat, it hit my carotid artery, clipped my carotid artery. So, you know, the carotid artery, we had two main veins in our neck, one being the jugular, which supplies blood to the heart, blood and oxygen to the heart. The other being your carotid, which supplies blood and oxygen to the brain. So by my carotid getting clipped, I had a stroke. Whereas though, you know, like, if a person with strokes and heart attacks usually come from people eating bad or, you know, things of that nature. Well, that's one cause, you know. A stroke can come in quite a few different ways, but a lot of times it comes from clogged arteries, where people having terrible dives, and the arteries get so clogged that the flow from the blood getting to the brain coming through the carotid gets blocked, and they have a stroke. Or on the other hand, the flow from blood coming through the jugular getting to the heart gets blocked, and they have a heart attack. Mine didn't come from that. I'm not going to say I had the best diet in the world, but, you know, I was in great shape. Worked out twice a day, every day, you know, maybe except for Sunday or Saturday. But my carotid got clipped, you know, so now, with all that being said, I had a stroke, so the only thing probably make me different from a lot of other people that have strokes is that, you know, the knowledge I had before that God blessed me to still be able to remember and, you know, put the use in my ambition. So with all that being said, when I see somebody that may be way worse off than me, that's also as me a stroke survivor. I don't look down on that person, you know, because that person may have some qualities within them that I don't possess, you know. But I do try to lend some of my strength and inspiration, some of my strength to that person to inspire them to get further and better with their situation, you know.
So when your artery was clipped, how long was it a complete blockage, well, a complete stoppage of blood and air to your brain?
Those questions right there, that's the things that I can't remember. Because during that time, only thing I can remember during the time all that was happening was that I knew I was dying. And I kept saying, where's my angel? And who my angel is my great-grandmother who just passed last week. Her funeral was this Thursday. She would have been 92 years in September. And then out of nowhere, when I was looking for her, I heard her voice. When I heard her voice, I said, I'm not going to die. And after that, you know, I was in a coma, an induced coma for 3 weeks. But when I came to, I was talking to one of my best friends, and I told him, look, man, I need a phone. Like after, not just saying that when I came to, because before I could talk, I had like things like a trach in my throat and all that. But when I was able to talk, you know, and they didn't have me strapped down to the bed no more, and all kind of mitts and everything on my hand, you know, basically I was free to sit up and talk and things like that. Because at first I couldn't talk, so I was writing stuff down. So, but once they took the trach and all that stuff out of my neck, I told my friend, look, yo, I need a phone. He was like, a phone, man? Who number do you know? I said, nigga, I know everybody's number. I told him his number, my mother number, my grandmother number, my father number, my other best friend number, and a few other people's phone numbers. All the people that I stayed in regular contact with, I still remembered everybody's phone number. And when I started calling these people, they were shocked. Like, how the fuck do you remember all this shit?
So I guess my question is, well, not I guess, but when you came to, how much weight in the, all right, so the 3 weeks, you said you were in an induced coma for 3 weeks. When you came out of that coma, how long was it before you were able to physically get around? So
well, that took a long time. Look, I don't know if you have enough camera space for all that, but to summarize it, I had to go through various stages of therapy before I could walk. For one, when I was at, the first place I was at was Child Trauma. Then from Child Trauma, I was transported to Kernan Hospital, which is one of the best rehabilitation hospitals maybe in the country, but I know definitely in the state of Maryland. And that's something else crazy. When I was in the coma, I clearly remember hearing somebody say, we got one more for Kernan. And I knew that was me. And when I came to and was talking to my mother, I told her everybody that was in the room during that time. I said it was you, my father, my Aunt Africa, and my cousin Stacy, and my other cousin Tierra. And that my father was in the background saying he going to Kernan, he going to need some high top tennis for therapy. And they was fucked up that I heard that, because I was supposed to be out cold, you know, just done out here, just dormant. But I clearly remember hearing all that. So when I went to Kernan, you know, they had me doing various stages of therapy. And the one therapy that I kept running into problems with the people was occupational therapy, because occupational therapy kept had me at the table doing ABC stuff, and I'm telling them I don't need this shit. And so was like speech therapy. They asking me little ABC quizzes, and I'm saying I don't need this shit. But I understand it, because speech therapy usually really tries to deal with cognitive function. But I really had no cognitive problems, like far as like remembering things, you know, or able to, you know, like able to advocate for myself and things of that nature. But with that being said, both of those therapies are very, very well needed and very important, because there's a lot of people out there that didn't get blessed like I was, that still have their memory and be able to advocate for themselves. You got people that went through the situation I went through, and I had a massive stroke. that can't even sign their goddamn name.
Hold up, real quick, Fred.